Hi, everybody. I'm with Lincoln again. We wanted to get on here and give you some gems all about marketing in the group exercise world. Now, I think it's worth noting that Lincoln and I have got a real passion in Group X. And this is, really going to be helpful for the instructor there, but it's also going to help PTs out there and stuff. So listen in for some amazing gems with this amazing guy. Lincoln, it's a pleasure to have you back again. Thank you so much.
It's absolutely great to be here. Thanks for the invite, and hopefully I will have something that the people watching or listening will find beneficial.
Absolutely. So this is stuff that you sort of live and breathe. So I think, you represent that yourself and you are an educator. So I think for me, there's a reason to actually listen into the gems that you're going to do it. You've got evidence of why it works. You do it day in, day out, and you are an educator. You've been in the industry for quite a few years as well.
Too many years.
So let's have a little think, really. Why, when I was preparing for this, I was thinking about all of the people that over the years have explained why they can't do marketing. It's not for them, and they struggle with it. And I think that's totally understandable. But I think for businesses to work really, really well, we need to explore what marketing is. And so I wanted for you to share your thoughts of perhaps why somebody's got those barriers in place, why perhaps they're thinking, oh, I don't really need to do marketing, it's too complicated, I just like to teach my classes. Over to you, wise man.
I don't know about that. I think COVID actually highlighted the importance of marketing, and the instructors that were comfortable doing it and the instructors that really shied away from that, because everyone was jumping online because there was no other options. And then all of a sudden instructors were finding that they were competing for people's attention. And the key thing with marketing, I think, which a lot of instructors don't seem to get, is that it's not really about your class. It's not really about the fact that you're a Zumba instructor or a kettlebells instructor, HIIT instructor. It's really about what problem do you solve. And I think that if you literally just promote yourself as being XYZ instructor, then you're almost treating yourself as a commodity. And then by doing that, people are going to compare you based on price. Okay, so if they want to do a Zumba class, for example, and your class is say £10 a session, and all you talk about is your Zumba class, then they're going to try to look at, especially in this day and age, who's got the most cost-effective option. Whereas if you talk about, some marketing person called it the sizzle, not the sauce. So if you then talk about the benefit of your class, especially now with COVID, stress reduction, how people feel, increased confidence, improved self-esteem, plus, a fun way to lose weight, and put that together with, testimonials and, proof that your concept works, but not just talking about, how great the Mambo Cha-Cha-Cha move is, but the actual change that it's made to people's lives, that is way more powerful than just the whole come to my class, I'm great. And I think a lot of instructors seemed to feel, especially speaking to quite a few, that they didn't want to be salespeople. They didn't want to come across as too salesy. But there's nothing wrong if you genuinely believe that you have a concept that can genuinely help people. There's nothing wrong in letting those people know that you can help them. So it may be a slight change in mindset that that needs to be adopted. So there's quite a few elements there. I think not really knowing what you're marketing. So why is it you're different? Why should someone come to you rather than the person that teaches in the same area? But also having the confidence to know what problem you solve for a specific target market.
It's I think with anybody that I know who teaches, the amount of passion that they have for what they do, not just their Mambo Cha-Cha-Cha, but really that they can be sort of changing people's lives.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see how infectious, contagious it is. And, if they got the people in the room they would be able to sell that idea, but they just wouldn't call it sales, would they? They'd
Yeah,
just be,
exactly.
they'd just be spreading the love of
Yeah.
what they do. And that, you saying about adopting a different mindset over the years of me working in the industry and now working in marketing, it's astonishing to think that
Yeah.
I do, because I was really, reluctant to sort of think I've got to sell things to people,
So what held you back?
For me, I think it was, that's a very, very good question. I think it was to do with making sure I felt confident in what I providing truly did make a difference. And I think there was also an expectation that people would just turn up. That, and I've been very lucky in my career that word of mouth has worked extraordinarily well for me. I've got gigs and stuff just because people have gone, oh, there's this person. I haven't had to, I was going to say, work hard against competition. You and I entered the industry in a very flourishing part, all those years ago. So I think for me, the more and more I become confident in who I am and, and what I offer to people, that's when I felt really, really comfortable about this isn't sales. This is about me inviting people to something that I genuinely believe in. Why wouldn't they want to come along?
And that is a key point that you've just raised, isn't it? You said you weren't sure or confident that what you was doing actually worked. And I think when we do the exercise to music course or whatever, and we learn to put routines together, and then we learn how to teach specific class formats, that's where our passion is. We're learning those class formats. But in terms of changing that mindset and creating a course or program, which is something that I really advocate, where you're actually making a difference, getting a tangible result for someone. If you have created that, or you spent time developing that, and then you've got proof of concept, so that your 12-week course or whatever actually gets a change, a positive change for people, then it increases your confidence to be able to say, look, I have this program, I've worked with XYZ amount of people and it's gotten these results. I reckon this will be perfect for you. Again, you're not really selling yourself or pimping yourself out. You're literally saying, look, you're telling me you have this problem. I've got this solution. It's worked for this amount of people. Why don't you give it a go?
Absolutely.
And then the more confident you are about a service, then that's where the old money back guarantee comes in. So you're doing that risk reversal. I used to do that with my metabolic effect classes. I used to say, look, if you come for 2 weeks and you don't see any changes or don't feel any better, then I'll happily give you your money back, because I don't really want people coming in my classes that aren't happy. And a lot of instructors say, oh, I couldn't do that because I'm not sure that, what happens if people don't follow your plan or this, that, and the other. And I said, well, obviously there's that caveat that they've got to do exactly what I say in terms of the program. But if you know that you've got results, and if you know that there is a proof of concept, then why not do that risk reversal? And so that people are trying your services with little risk.
Yeah, love that. I think when you're saying that as well, something jumped very much to mind. Another reason where it was, you said about confidence and stuff. I think for me, and maybe this will resonate with some of the people listening in, is the idea that I wanted everything to be perfect. And I realized, I'm not going to say 15 years ago, probably about 10 years ago, and considering I've been in the industry for 30 odd years, I realized that perfectionism was slightly getting in my way. And so I've done a lot of work on that. And for me, from a marketing perspective, I think, I really admire people who kind of just try concepts out and stuff like that. I'm kind of now different in the fact I won't just try anything. I'm considered, I'm careful, of course I'm accurate, and I really care. But perfectionism is, was getting in my way. I wouldn't put anything out until it was beyond perfect. Well, then it's probably too late. So, in our team, we make sure that don't get me wrong, it's not okay with 1,000 spelling mistakes and, you know, things not linking up properly. Of course, I'm very careful, but perfectionism was probably something that I thought was linked with confidence.
Yeah.
But you know, I think that actually the more, you know, the narrative in our industry is all about showing up, being authentic, being more real. That's actually much more of appeal to your groups anyway. It draws people in, but also it allowed me the space to go, oh, I can actually do this now. So
Yep.
I think for listeners listening in, I think when we're talking about confidence, I really do need to, and we've said it before on webinars before, there's so much noise out there. It's like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And before, you know, a few years ago, it was about, you know, do I have to be on the same bandwagon as everybody else? Well, there's so many bandwagons now. You could literally do anything. So there's all that going on, and there's a lot of, you know, people with billions of followers, and what are they doing? And there's people that you think, oh, it doesn't quite align with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So where do I sit? And so I think, you know, confidence is really, really key. But I also do think, you know, giving it a go as well. You're not going to be judged on every single move that you take, and you know, it takes a bit of practice. It's like with anything, isn't it? You know, with your choreography, in, you know, when we're learning, it didn't come to us all straight away, you know, and I suppose with marketing. So what I wanted to do is obviously you've created a new course for us, so thank you very much for that.
No worries.
All about group exercise, and it's like a marketing toolkit. And the beauty of what Lincoln does is he sort of walks you through the process in such a clever way. So rather than this just being all like theorizing all over it and making you come up with the strategies, he actually helps you through. So you're sort of, it's like he's holding your hand, and also gently sort of, you know, encouraging you along. It's a process. So then when you've done this course with him, you actually will have tangible marketing stuff in the place or in the space, or you know what I'm saying,
in the house.
Exactly that.
Right.
That. So, you know, we'd love for people to check out the course, and obviously links will be associated with this recording. But if we could pull out just a few things from the course to just sort of tantalize people, or so they can just take a gem away from them, what would be one of the things that springs to mind, considering we've just talked about confidence, we've talked about noise out there, we're talking about just getting started. You know, should they be first of all looking at, you know, the hardest parts of marketing, or that, you know, seem so far away, or what are some things that they could start off with?
Well, I think the first thing personally, which taps into quite nicely your statement about confidence and perfectionism, is acknowledging it's better to take imperfect action. You know, some of my funniest memories of presenting was when stuff went wrong. I was going to say something else then. You know, I was teaching a dance class at a FitPro event at Loughborough, and it was going really well, thinking, oh, I've got the crowd in the palm of my hand, and the electricity blew in the whole venue. No music whatsoever. So I was thinking, what's going to happen here? The sound engineers came back and said, look, we have no idea when the electricity is going to be back on. We don't know where the fault is. And I'm thinking, oh, you know, FitPro, big event, you know, I'm starting to get all sweaty palms and everything. And I thought, you know what, let's just carry on with no music. And I just did the whole rest of the class with no music, and then all of a sudden the audience was doing all percussions with their claps and stamps and whatever, and then all of a sudden, about 10 minutes to go, the music came back on. It was almost like being at a rave concert, you know. So all of that came from just getting on with it, you know. So, and also the second point is people buy people, and people love stories. And the thing about competing with everyone else online and offline is that no one's going to have the same story as you. No one's going to have the same background as you. No one's going to have the same experiences as you. No one's going to have the same reason for getting into the industry as you. And so the more that you're happy and confident sharing that, then you're not really competing with anyone else, because you are leaning into your authentic version of you. And I think that's the starting point. The starting point is kind of realizing, well, what is it I'm actually going to be marketing? How am I going to establish my expert status? Because again, one of the other elements linked to confidence is like, well, how am I going to stand up against blah 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 celebrity who's talking about menopause, for argument's sake? And the thing is, again, you can be an expert from just by walking the walk. You can be an expert by researching. You can be an expert by the results that you get. You can be an expert by the articles that you've read, that you've written, the book that you've written, for example. All of these ways establishes you as an expert and an authority in your field. And so that would be really what I would say is your starting point, and really getting clear on who is it that you want to target, who is it that you really want to teach to. And I know, if you teach in a health club or a sports center, oh yeah, but I'll teach anyone that comes to my classes, and that's fine. But if you want to, I always use the analogy, if I have a problem with my heart, I don't really want to go to my GP, I want to go to a heart specialist. And so if you've got a very clear idea of who it is you want to target, then it makes it so much easier to market yourself both online and offline as well. Because especially offline, if you want to target, say for example, if you're a personal trainer, you want to target let's just say when I was in Cheltenham, I was personal training, and my target market just seemed to be, don't know why, let's not get too deep, but it seemed to be women of a certain age that had a lot of disposable income. Literally, I don't know why that happened, but it did. Okay. But inadvertently, that made it easy for me to market, because I had a friend that was an editor of Cotswold Life, which is a very kind of magazine for the affluent in that area. And so I was almost speaking directly to that demographic. Whereas if I was trying to target everyone, then it would be like very much a scattergun approach. Does that make sense?
It can get diluted, can't it?
Yeah.
And I think, our hearts are very much like we want to serve as many people as we possibly can. I get it. And like you say, if you're working in a gym and literally just anyone's coming in, great. But let's be honest, even in gyms and health clubs, there are, specific classes, they're called a specific thing with in mind of who it's going to service. And one of the things I liked doing when I was, doing this more often was, I don't think I'm a one-trick pony. I don't think I just can do this. There were other sides of me. So I could, let's say, for example, there could be something that's a bit more dancey. And yes, I was cool once. And I was cool.
I can imagine that. Don't you worry about that.
Just for a short time. And so I could do something like that. And so I effectively, it was almost like it wasn't a different Teresa, but it was a different personality, perhaps. It wasn't that I was pretending to be something else. It wasn't inauthentic. But then I might go and do a relaxation class. And if that version of Teresa turns up, that might be a little bit overexcitable or playful. I was more grounded in this. And, as we walk through life, we have different versions of ourselves, but still staying true to who we are. And I really love that. So, I think I would never, and I got better at this. I know what is in my lane. I don't, there's certain things I wouldn't have touched because I just didn't think they're right for me. And I really encourage people listening in to make sure that it feels genuine and authentic to them, and, it's in their lane. But, one of the things is if you want to be targeting different groups, I'm sure when you were, working with that target group, you had to slightly change. The marketing would have slightly changed. You were
100%.
adjusting it, but that you kind of almost fell into that. It sounds like, and one of the things that I probably have noticed when I've sort of helped and assisted people in marketing is they felt that perhaps it's almost like lying or like exaggerating or not being genuine because that's salesy. And I'm thinking to some of the best brands who I love and adore, all have a backstory. They all have got, there's a human side to them, and they're kind of playful in their marketing, a bit tongue in cheek. And that's the way I like to market things for myself. But some people will do it very differently. And so long as it's, true and authentic. So what I want to ask you is about, for those people that think that marketing being salesy is kind of almost like lying or exaggerating or not real. What are your thoughts on that? How can we make it feel that it is real and authentic?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I think, again, it leads back to being quite confident as to who you are as a FitPro, knowing who your target audience is, and also what problem that you're looking to solve. And then, you know, it's educational marketing. So rather than going on social media and, you know, have a lot of posts of, you know, oh yeah, shout out to my group that smashed it, you know, all of that stuff. Educate. You know, if you've got a target group in mind, say, for example, women of a certain age that's just leading up to the menopause, then, you know, do some research and get on a video just like this and just do a 2-3 minute clip of, you know, even just saying, I read this amazing article today about female hormones and belly fat, for argument's sake, and these are the top 2 tips that I got away from this, and hopefully you found this useful. And then you literally give some information away for free, and then give some information for free, and then linked to that, you can say, if you want any more information, then sorry, someone was trying to get through to me. Hate that. So once you've given that information, you can then say, if you want any more information, either send me a DM, or, you know, then you can lead to what is known as your call to action. But I think that educational based marketing is way more effective because, again, it allows you to be authentic. It shows people why you're an expert. But then also, if someone wants to find out more information, they can either post a comment, or they can send you a message, or they can sign up for your newsletter, or they can actually request and give you permission to give you more information, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does, absolutely. And that, you know, I think a lot of the time people struggle with social media because they're like, what do I talk about? I just don't know what to talk about. But if it is commentary, like you say, on an article or a this or a that, it allows, if they're on video, it also allows you to shine through as who you are, doesn't it? So people get to see glimpses of you, because I think people buy into the person, let's be honest, rather than, like you say, the type of class. It's like, I really love that person, they come across this way. So I think that's a really top tip. So if there was
interview people, people.
No, yeah.
Oprah Winfrey is a quadzillionaire from ability to interview people. You know, she doesn't come across as an expert on anything, but she interviews people and she asks the questions that possibly you want to ask. And obviously she can reach out to some amazing guests. But again, the power of social media is that you can reach out to people you think, you know, I want to find out more about these people. My target market would love to know more about this person or how this person can help them. So just create almost an interview series where, okay, you can do a Facebook Live or an Instagram Live, and you're just talking to people. And that way, you know, for the people that are shy, yes, I'm, you know, an introvert myself, you know, it takes the onus away from you, but you're still providing good value to your target audience.
Love that. And it means that you've got something there, you know, and a strategy in place, because there's an interview series, you know you're going to be showing up each week. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? It's like, how do I keep this going? And I think some people, you know, perhaps if they're thinking, oh, I don't really like the idea of social media and stuff, I really struggle with it. Like you say, if they're introverted, they don't want to show off about themselves. Like you say, putting the onus on somebody else. But again, you get to shine whilst doing it. So I really love that. Is there some, Lincoln, I know you cover so much in the course, and they will go away with, you know, usable stuff, which will transform. I mean, even if people have done elements of marketing or know it in this way, it's a really helpful instructional sort of series. So is there any sort of, maybe through your experience, maybe some to-dos and to do nots that you might want to share maybe that you see, I mean, I'm not a fan of slagging off what anybody, excuse me. I don't think I just said slagging off then.
You
I'm not
actually
a
just
fan,
did.
I literally just
And
did.
you can't edit it out either.
I'm not a fan of putting down what anybody else does, but I think sometimes we can see that it's not going to align with us. Okay, so I think anybody, if they see something that makes them feel uncomfortable, we know that's not for them. But when it comes from the processes of, marketing, to do and to do not, have you got any sort of brief suggestions to people listening in?
I think the key one is to have an idea of why you're marketing in the first place, and what your process is. So the key thing that I talk about in the course is this SPC model. So turning someone from a suspect to a client. So they find out about you on, say, social media, or even if it's locally offline. And then how are you going to get their contact details? Because obviously the great thing about social media is that you can reach a lot of people, but the negative of social media is that you don't own it. So I think last year when Instagram and Facebook went down for a couple of days and there was this big hoo-ha and businesses collapsing and blah, blah, blah. But that just goes to show that you actually don't own Facebook. Elon Musk, that's deciding that he might charge to use Twitter. All of a sudden, your Twitter followers, if that's your social media channel, isn't yours anymore. So an email list is something that's that you own, and that you can market to, and by sending out regular newsletters. So having that as a process as well. And then once you've got their contact details, how are you going to, what is known as provide results in advance? How are you going to show people that you can solve problems for them? So challenges have been very popular in the fitness world for a while. Doing free seminars, free workshops, having what is known as a lead magnet, where you create a little information brochure that people read and think, okay, this person really gets me, I want to find out more about them. All of those things are ways that you can show people that this person absolutely knows her stuff. Free talks and webinars. So when I was teaching my metabolic effect classes, I used to do free talks in the community about how to lose female belly fat, how to get rid of cellulite, all of those topics that I felt that my target market would find really interesting. And then once they sort of became part of my sphere of influence, then they signed up for my classes. So then that's really useful. And then having a conversion process, and this goes back to what you're saying, that a lot of instructors don't like talking about how much they charge. They don't like talking about the classes, and getting people to actually turn up, because that's the hardest part. As you said, once they're through the door, then they become raving fans. But how are you going to get them from knowing about you to sampling your stuff to then signing up? So having that clear process is definitely something to be aware of. And when you're promoting, should I say, promote with action, with confidence. So are you doing a social media post just to let people know about you? Are you doing a social media post so that people can like your stuff? Are you doing a social media post because you want to direct them to a page where they can enter their contact details? Or are you creating a post because you want them to go to this website to buy your stuff? All of those are very valid reasons, but you just need to be very clear, because that will dictate how you structure the content of your posts.
Yeah, it's to think that this just happens. It doesn't, does it? I mean, it could be that you sat around for, and then think, oh, I'll do a social media post. But I think we have to be quite considered about that. And, you and I, when we first started out, I mean, like, when you were creating your leaflets and, you're photocopying things and, I mean, that was still work, right? It wasn't, that's hard graft, putting in the effort to make your business effective, and work. And it's just a bit different now, isn't it? But actually, so there are so many free tools. There are, you can do from the comfort of your sofa, or when you're traveling. I mean, not driving clearly, but you're on the bus, you're on the train, or whatever. There's lots that you can do, and I think that it's just about, like I say, having a sort of structure in place And knowing there's going to be good and bad times, because I think, with marketing, you can think, I've got this great idea, this is going to work really well, and it's okay, and then there's other things, and you just think, how did that? Why did that one work so well?
100%.
And I think it's worth then actually, discussing that, working out, chatting to the people, what spoke to you about this and stuff like that. And I think it's an exciting thing, isn't it, that we get to try these things out in the hope that we actually can get more people into our class, which of course is very, very important for them, and sustains our business, right? Because we want to.
Yeah, and the key thing that you've just said is about them, and that you talked about what's the big don't, and I think the big don't, and I think a lot of fitness professionals find this really, really hard. It's not about you. It's really not about you. It's about the people that you're hoping to get into your sessions. And that's really hard. I'm doing a course at the moment for some students, and they think their way of promoting is to show themselves with their biceps, and I said it's just not about you. Now, unless the type of client that you want is going to be attracted to that and want to look like that, I suppose you could argue that is the kind of message that you want to give off. However, but for most of us, it's really about leaning into your target audience, and what information do you think your target audience is going to want to find out and know about. And I think the more that you really spend time thinking about, you said you're a lady of many talents, and I don't doubt that for a second. If you're teaching a variety of disciplines, think about who's the typical person that goes to your yoga class, your Pilates class, your step class, your HIIT class. Imagine you were speaking to them. Imagine you were, or you can even do this, go out for a drink with them and say, what is the sort of stuff that you want to find out and know about? And then you can create content, whether it's videos, whether it's podcasts, whether it's blogs, that actually speaks to that target audience.
Yeah. And again, you say things like blogs and things like that, and a lot of people can be like, I don't know, I don't even know where to start. But it is just starting, and something like a blog is, again, a real version of you. It's chatty, it's conversational, it's fun. You don't have to suddenly become an academic to be able to do that. There's spell check, there's running it past a mate, you can come out with some amazing content that again shines light on what you're doing. In a broader sense, we know that you
can use your phone. You can use the dictate. So literally just sit, chill out, use the dictate and just speak into your phone, and it does all the stuff for you. So you don't have to be a great linguist, and again, a lot of people like that authenticity, that it's not grammarly perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be you, and it just needs to have a message that reaches and speaks to the people that you want in your sessions.
I think the realer the better, right? Always. I think that's really important. So we've sort of covered a few to-dos and don'ts. If you were going to, obviously, as the creator of the course, if you were going to explain or summarize what they can get out of doing your course, what would it be?
I'd like to think that you would get a very clear roadmap as to how to start the marketing process, and to create a system or framework where you can consistently get people to know about you, to know, like, and trust you, which is a very sort of marketing term, but then how to sign them up and becoming paying class members, which at the end of the day is what we all want, but to do it in a way that doesn't take up all of your time. Because let's face it, you got into the industry because you want to teach classes, you want to help people, you like that element. And the marketing stuff to some people can seem quite dry and boring. So it seems silly to have to spend, or think that you have to spend 7-8 hours on social media, writing emails, updating websites and whatnot. So spend more time doing what you love, but obviously have a system in place that allows you to take a little bit of stress away from you, knowing that you're going to get people that constantly find out about you. There was someone called it going into the vortex, because there's a certain personality type, and I'm sure you come across them. Just before they're about to do business with you, they want to find out everything about you. So they will Google you, they will go onto your Facebook, they will go into your Instagram, they will go onto your LinkedIn, whether you like it or not. So you can actually control the message that they see. And so again, this is where it goes all the way back to, you know, what's your story, why are you an expert, and how you can help people. Because if they're going to go onto all of those channels anyway, you want to make sure that they see what you offer and they think, okay, this person's consistently is providing stuff that really looks like they're helping people, and they're helping them in this way. And I think that that's the key element that I'd like to feel you'll get from purchasing the course and working through it. There's going to be there's a workbook, so you can actually, again, it's not just something that you just watch passively and think, oh yeah, that was a good course. That'd be really good if I put that into practice. There's actually going to be exercises and templates that you can complete. So by the end of the course, you'll have about 5 or 6 different systems and frameworks and plans to help you structure your own seminars, your own workshops, your own fitness challenges. You'll even get a call script. So if someone does phone you and wants to inquire about your sessions, that you've actually got a script that you can edit that will give you a lot more confidence when speaking on the phone, to find out again more about them and showcasing how you're an expert and how you can help them without really appearing salesy at all.
Yeah, it sounds perfect. And this is a 5-hour course. And like you said, it's not about being passive and just thinking, oh, the theory sounds good. It's about actually making something really, really happen and change. So thank you for creating that for us, because obviously that's it's great for all of us. I certainly learned even more stuff, which is amazing. Lincoln, is there any last words you'd like to say about the course, about marketing, or anything you want to say to our community before we wrap up?
You know, it's your business, so try to create something that isn't going to drain you, but it's going to serve you. You know, you don't have to spend 5 hours a day marketing, as long as you're consistent. You know, consistently taking imperfect action is better than, you know, inconsistent perfect action. Oh my God, I've just made that up. All right, so I know. Make sure you recorded that.
I have.
But just be you, just be natural. There is literally only one of you, unless you're a twin, of course. Okay, but there is only one of you, so there's no point trying to think that you have to compete with everyone, because you don't. You just have to be your own authentic self. Obviously be good at what you do, you know, because we do have standards in the industry, you know, but show people how you can help them, and generally lead from that point of view, and you will attract the class members and the clients that will gravitate to you. And I think that having faith in that will serve you well.
Okay, that's some very cool words you just finished on for us. I mean, you know, there should be a mic drop, literally. I'm just thinking, do you know, my marketing brain was going, oh, I'm going to clip that bit out, because that sounds it was really good, Lincoln. Thank you so much. And, you know, I want to say thank you to everybody tuning in to listen to this. Lincoln shares a lot with the industry as a wise old guy. I called you old, Lincoln.
Well,
what?
I suppose I am really, but it's okay.
He's certainly very wise, and I'd really love for you to check out his course, because he's brilliant. And also, I think, you know, what we're saying there is that you're going to have something tangible which will make a difference to your business and help drive that belief and confidence, which I think is really, really fundamental. Having that successful business that's just going to keep on serving people and stuff. So thank you for tuning in and taking the time out in your day or evening to listen into those gems from Lincoln. Please do, like I say, check out the course, listen out for his other webinars as well. And Lincoln, where can they contact you or follow you or stalk you or whatever? Where can they find you?
I was going to say something so inappropriate, but I just remembered recording. So you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and it's literally /Lincoln Bryden.
Amazing. So please do follow Lincoln. He gives out, so again, it's not just, this is where it's so funny when my teeth get a little bit, oh, I can't say the words. He doesn't just walk the walk and talk the talk. He actually genuinely does it. So if you follow him, you'll see that he's putting what he suggests to do in practice. So I think it's always great to follow people so it gives you a little bit of inspiration as well. So Lincoln, as always, thank you so much for sharing all that you do. And
Absolute pleasure.
thank you, FitPro people, for joining us.
Take care. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye.